where you want. Or go where you need.
Hello everybody, welcome to Next Gaming and Space Engineers here on the Xbox One. New series for the channel. We are going to go through what I'd like to call a noob guide. Space Engineers has been out for some time, early access, whatever you want to call it, alpha. And I've been wanting to play this game ever since I first heard about it many years ago. I do not use a PC, I use a Mac. And wanting to run this on a Mac would just be futile. So I waited, and here it is on the Xbox One, and we are ready to go through it. I'm going to do a noob guide. There is a huge learning curve to this game, especially when it comes to the controls of it. There is so much to it. It's so in-depth that I want to take you guys through it in a very slow, painstaking way. It is going to be a grind at times, guys. I'm going to try to cut out the parts that are a grind, but I want to explain what I'm doing so that you understand it, because like I said, I've been playing with this now for about a week and a half or so, and there's a huge learning curve. It takes a lot to learn, even the basic controls of stuff, and I want to kind of go through and explain all of that. This way you guys understand fully. Best way to do this is to start your own world and start it with a clean system. We're going to do survival here. We're going to go ahead and rename this world something else. We'll call it Noob 1, because I believe you need at least 5 characters. It's 5 to 90 characters, right? We're going to do that. It's going to be a call of our world. We're going to start the game. It's going to bring us into another screen as it loads. We're going to kind of transition ahead. All right, so here we are at the next screen for setting up. Now, I picked Star System all the way down at the bottom. There are other scenarios here. There's tutorials to kind of walk you through how to do some stuff. But I'm going to go through it in a way like where you're starting from scratch with survival. There's a couple different options here. I tried some of them. I tried like Moon Drop Pod, but I'm going to do the Earth-like Drop Pod. So it puts us on an Earth-like planet. We're going to do that one. And you can see here that we are in our drop pod, and we're going to be landing very soon on the planet. And you can kind of see as we spin around, they're just dropping down, and there's no control over the ship. We're just going to land somewhere randomly, and yeah, it's kind of it. The parachute comes out automatically, and it's going to plop us down on the ground, and we're going to have to kind of find our way around. So we're going to walk through some steps here to kind of get us going, and like early game, super early game, get us going for the novice here. Right now we're in our ship here, our drop pod, and we're going to kind of turn this into a ship that we can use to get around and find ourselves a nice location to set up base. And I'm going to be explaining some things as we go along here. I'm going to try to keep these videos typically pretty short in order for you guys to understand and follow along, because like I said, there is a lot to it. I just pressed the X button here on the Xbox controller in order to get out of our drop pod, and you can see we're kind of on a little bit of a slope here, which is fine. And you can use the right stick to look around. The left stick moves your guy backwards and forwards and left and right, and like I said, you can look around. I tend to like to stick to the first person view. By holding down the right bumper button, you'll see the radial circle on the bottom, kind of mid center right there. Will change the controls. As you see, I click down on it, it changed the controls. If you click the D-pad up, you'll have the camera options. There's 2 options: first person or third person. I like first person. I'll explain some of these controls here quickly. If you push to the left on the D-pad while holding down the right bumper key, you will open up your visor on your helmet, but I do not advise doing that. And then if you click to the right, it will turn on your headlamps on top of your helmet. We don't really need those right now, but I'm going to keep them on anyway to keep things illuminated for us as we go through. Once you let go, you still have a radial menu there. If you push up, if you push your left, right, or up on this D-pad in this menu, you will get a couple of different tools. You'll have your grinder, you'll have your drill, and you'll have your welder, and I'll explain all of these as we go through. What we want to do is we want to kind of get things started here, and you have a progression tree. So if you hit the 2 square button on the Xbox controller on the left side, the small circle one on the left side, it opens up kind of like your terminal or your whatever, your inventory or whatever you want to kind of call it. So you'll see your inventory of things that you have on you right now. there is a progression menu, as I was saying. So like if you press down on the left stick, it opens up a new radial menu, right? So you have a new radial menu here with some blocks that you can use for building, and there's a building planner, and there's also a queue to kind of add stuff to it. So this will build things for you. You can kind of queue up things to be manufactured or crafted, if you want to use that word, to build here in your world, right? We're gonna get working on our ship here. There's a whole bunch of things here. If you hit the right trigger button, you will see that there's a whole bunch of different menus for different things to build, and you can see on some of these here, for example, if we look at this one here, the decoy, if we look at that, it has a kind of like a little tree on it, and it's grayed out because we have to be able to hit that progression. Now, by holding up on the left stick, I'm able to kind of choose this option. You can see in the bottom right hand corner there is a open progression tree button. So if you click the X, you will open your progression tree, and you can see here what I'm talking about. This is your progression tree. You have to build certain things in order to unlock other things, right? So we're going to start with something extremely simple. We are going to build a landing gear, and in order to do that, we're going to grind it down, and then we're going to put it back together, and I'll show you that right now. Super simple. You're going to go click on your left D-pad key. You're going to not open, but pull out your grinder, and then you're going to point it at your landing gear. Let's take a look at these landing gears here for a second, actually. The green ones mean that they're active, and the blue ones mean that they're not. So what we're going to do is by clicking the B button, we can crouch a little bit. We're getting under there. As soon as we point on it, you can see in the right-hand side of the screen, you have the landing gear. It shows you the components that are required to build it, and also what's going to break down. So as we break this down, as we grind this, by clicking the right trigger key, we will get the parts out of this. You want to break it down to just past that little red line where it says functional, right? You want to stop it right there. You don't have to bring it all the way down. And what we're going to do is we're going to switch to our welding tool, which is, if you click D-pad right, you'll have your welding tool. And now we're going to point at it. You can see we're at 58% components required, but we have those components in our inventory, right? If we take a quick look, we'll see that we did pick up some stuff when we grinded it down. So a steel plate and a motor, we have those, and now we're going to put them back on. Watch as I do get this bar above functional. You'll see a message across the screen that says we've unlocked other things in the progression tree, which we're going to need moving forward in order to kind of get the thing, kind of do the things we need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back together now by clicking the right trigger button, pushing it down. I'm going to tap it. I kind of like doing it that way better. There you go. Building landing gear, you have unlocked new blocks. So we now have access to a few new blocks. Pressing the B key again gets us to stand up straight. What I'm going to do with this now is we're going to make this ship something that we can fly, and make it super easy. So we're going to start with is take our grinder out here, and we're going to break down some of these front pieces here so we can get some material that we can use. We don't necessarily need so much of it, but we're going to get that material. I went a little bit further than I wanted to. That's why I kind of like to tap the trigger key, so you don't take away too much and have to rebuild it. So we can see we have 4 thrusters on this ship. We want to take down 2 of them. We only need 2 to get this ship off the ground. So we're going to go ahead and grind down 2 of these all the way. We're going to grab the components for it. There we go. We have those 2 off. We still have 2 on there. 2 in the front. They're going to be our up thrust, and that's kind of all we really need to get off the ground and get ourselves moving. And we're going to turn this into a flyable ship. Now, what we're going to want to do here is go into our build menu. I'm going to show you a couple of things here. If we click on the right trigger key, we're going to go to, I believe it's decorations. You have to go quite a bit of ways to the right. Decorations. Nope, not decorations. Maybe it's advanced systems. Advanced systems, yes. So if we push down, this is what we unlocked, is the remote control when we broke down the landing gear and put it back together. It gave us the ability to open up this piece here when we did that. So this is one of the pieces that we need here in order to take control of the ship and making something that we can fly. So by clicking on the right trigger, we're able to now make it so we can build this. We don't want to put it there. We want to put it in the front of the ship. kind of at the spot where we broke everything up, right? And you want to rotate this. You want this to be sitting in a certain direction so that you can control the ship properly. Kind of like think of it like a gyroscope in a way. It's not quite a gyroscope, but you want it facing the right direction so that it does orient the ship properly and it does not make you turn left when you want to be turning right, right? So if you leave it in this menu here, this placement menu, you are going to click on the right or left D-pad in order to kind of rotate it, right? You want it to be sitting in a way that the light of this is going to be kind of like sitting up, right? So if you press down, it changes the orientation of which you can rotate. You can see that right there. Not quite what I wanted, so we'll press down again on the D-pad, and we get the rotation we want. So you want it to kind of look like that when you're placing it. Kind of like the lights are like pushing up, right? There's like lights at the top of that. Those lights are kind of facing up. That's where you want it to be. You click your right trigger key, and that places the piece. Again, there is a lot of different controls here, and getting used to these is tough. We press the left stick down, gives us that radial menu again, right? We have the remote control up there as part of our recent blocks. By pushing up on the left stick, we can see that. By pressing the right trigger, right bumper, we're able to place it. In order to get back to your free hand again, you see the hand right in the middle. You just leave it there. When you hit that left stick down, you'll just press the RB button to confirm, and you're back into your hands. And now you can bring out your welder. D-pad right, you have your welder, and you can start working on this piece right here. So now taking a look at this here on the right side, you can see the components that are needed in order to build this. It seems like we have most of what we need. We are missing one piece, right? We want to get it up to functional. You don't have to go all the way to 100%. You see the 84, just get above that functional line is all you really need. So we do need a computer in order to do this. So we're gonna probably have to do some mining, right? That's what the drill is for. That's what this is right here. Pressing up on the D key, you get that drill, and we're gonna have to do a little bit of mining in order to get the resources that we need so that we can build the components that we need as well. So we're gonna have to build some computers, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Let me just pull out here a little bit. We're gonna look down at the ground, and we're gonna kind of start digging. And being that we're on solid ground, we can just start digging right away because what we need is the rocks. We don't need much. Makes a tremendous amount of noise, but we're gonna hit the right trigger key to drill, and then we're gonna pick up the rocks that it produces when we do drill. Now we're gonna come back on over to our respawn pod, and we're gonna take a look around here, and we're gonna go to the back where we have the survival kit. We click the 2 square key button, in order to open up the inventory on this. What we want to do is we want to place these stones inside, click the A button, that pushes it in there, and it'll give us the ability to start breaking that down and producing the components that we need. So right trigger over at the top, you see inventory control panel, production, info, factions, and comms. We're going to right trigger over till we get to production, and we want to be able to start producing some things here. So we want to produce ingots with the rocks that we have, and what we're going to do is probably going to do, I would say, we can produce a couple thousand we'll put into here for now. We'll put 1,000 to start with. We're going to need much more than that, but we'll start with 1,000. So holding down the left bumper and the right bumper are LB and RB, and press the X once, it puts 1,000 into your queue, and it starts immediately refining that material, right? We're going to have to go get more rocks. It does not give you much, but I'll break it down into gravel, iron, nickel, and silicone. So let's go back to our little hole. I'm going to grind away at a little bit at this to get the material that we need, and I'll bring it back in. Alright, so by pressing the D-pad up, getting ourselves the drill, and coming down here, crouching by hitting the B button, we're able to drill down, and we produce a whole bunch of stone here that we can use, right? We hit the X key to pick it all up.
Inventory full.
Right there, you'll see your inventory is full. It'll let you know.
Inventory full.
Very politely, I must say. And you can see that you are now loaded up on a whole bunch of stone. Not a lot, but enough to kind of get things rolling here. Again, you might have to make a few trips to do this. Don't pick something so far away that it's like, a long run back and forth. Pick something that's somewhat close, or at least close enough for you to get what you need to get done. So now we have the stone in there, and again, you can see their production queue here is rolling and doing the things that we need it to do. We do need a computer, so we're going to queue that up as well. Once it's stopped rolling the stone in there, it will produce that one computer that we need, and we're going to wait for that to happen. And there it is, our computer's ready, and we're going to go ahead, hit the A key to get that. Now, in this menu, going back and forth, this gets a little bit confusing. It's a little confusing too. So, on the left side is your personal inventory, right? That's your player character, that's his inventory, and on the left side you will see the survival kit. Now, this gets a little bit more convoluted and complex a little bit further on. That's something we'll be discussing in other episodes, though, and how to like kind of get around and control here. So, using the D-pad, you can go kind of go back and forth between left and right. Same thing with the left stick, you can kind of go back and forth left and right. You will use the D key up and down to kind of move between the different pieces that you have in here. And when you click on A, it will transfer that into your inventory, or vice versa. If you're on this side and you want to put something back, you click on A and it'll put it back into the inventory of the survival kit. The survival kit has many uses for it. We'll go into some of those as well as we need to. But now that we have our computer, we're going to go ahead and finish up our remote control. And there it is. You can see it turned on. It is green now, which means it is active. You can see that it has 91% of its components that are required. All of them are kind of filled in there. I mean, you can kind of go all the way with it if you want to by just holding it down till you get 100%. But you just have to really go over that line, really, if you're looking to kind of be efficient and keep things moving quickly. That's kind of the way to do that. Next step is we're going to build some thrusters now for ourselves. The next very important piece here for us is going to be getting on top of our ship to place the thrusters, one in each direction. So in order to do that, you can jump by hitting the A button, right? So A jumps and the B crouches. The Y button will turn on your jetpack and you're able to fly. So by pushing A, you will go up, and by pushing the B, you will go down. Pushing Y turns off that jetpack again, and you're on your feet and walking around. So Y, we're going to kind of go up here, get ourselves on top of the ship. We'll turn off our jetpack to save our fuel. We'll get into a little bit of that as well when we need to. You can see some of the stats on the left-hand side, bottom of the screen. You'll see your health is the plus sign, O2 is your oxygen level, the bolt is your energy or power, and then the H2 is how much hydrogen you have for your jetpack. So now we're going to have to build some atmospheric thrusters for the ship in order to get ourselves around and find a good place to call home. We're going to hit that left stick, we'll click that, and we'll take a look through the menu here by hitting the RT key over, and we're going to go to Ship Essentials. And you'll see a whole bunch of different things here in the radial menu. We're going to need a gyroscope at some point, and we're also going to need the atmospheric thrusters, right? So there's two options here for the atmospheric thrusters. There's a large atmospheric thruster, and then we have the regular one. So in order to get to the regular one there's two options in there. If you'll see at the top right of that window, you'll see it kind of go back and forth. By clicking the A key, you're able to cycle through those blocks in order to get to the ones you want. So now that we have the regular ones, we're going to hit the RB to confirm. Oh, actually, wait. Hold on one second. Back up. We have this one here. We want to put it into our build planner so that it will automatically produce the material that we need when we put stone in. We can say queue up this, and it'll be part of our build planner. So by hitting the X key, that adds the thruster into the build planner. We need 4 of them, so we'll put 4 for now. And we can also remove them by hitting the Y. That removes them, right? X puts them in, and the Y takes it out. Now, some of those controls are in there, so that's kind of the easy part. We've cycled through, we have what we want. We're going to now hit the RB key to confirm, and now we can see the thruster, and we're able to kind of place it on our ship. Again, we're going to need to rotate this in a certain orientation so that it works for us, and we're going to have one facing in each direction. Do you want them too closer on top of each other? It will blow up other components, so make sure that you're placing it in a appropriate spot. So once you have the spot that you want, you will click on the RT and it'll place it, and then you move on to your next one, and we're going to place one there. We're going to rotate that as well, but not like that. There we go. We'll rotate that way, and we'll place it out a little bit further, so again, it's not on top of each other, just like that. This one gets a little bit tricky because the That is the ore detector, which is in our way, and we'll explain the ore detector later on as well. And we have a thruster there, and then now we have an antenna here as well. So that gets a little bit tricky too, but again, we're making sure that we're facing these thrusters each in one direction. So now all of our thrusters are placed the L stick down, and then you're able to hit the RB and go back to your free hand. Now you pull out your welder and you're able to go and see what components are needed to build the thrusters. There are going to be quite a bit of components needed. This is the part where you're going to grind a little bit more for stone and have it produce what you need inside of your survival kit. Alright, so we do have quite a bit of stuff on us already, but let me explain a little bit about adding components in. If you are on your D-pad and you get into your screen here, when you go into the middle, there's two options here. You can withdraw components for build planner. You can also add components from the build planner to the production queue. So if I click this here, it'll add all the pieces that I need into the production menu to build the pieces that I need for those thrusters. Like, tap that. It says 8 components cannot be put into production. There was probably an issue with how much I needed as far as how much material I have, and that's probably why it did that. But you can see in the middle there, stored materials required on the right side and the available on the left side. So you can see how much stone that I'm going to need, how much ingot we're going to need, and how much iron ingot and how much nickel ingot we're going to need. So plenty of grinding here at this point. We're going to need about 38,000 stone, it looks like, or is that 38? Yeah, about 38,000 stone. I believe that's what it is, and we only have like 27. So we have some work to do. Now it's time to start grinding, and I'll bring it back in a moment. And then once we get these thrusters built, we're going to kind of put a break in the video. We don't want to make it too long as far as that goes. All right, I'm dropping off another batch of stone here for my survival kit, and then I wanted to kind of show you something here. You can take a look at my stats right now. On the bottom left, you can see my energy is super low. Here on the side of the ship, you'll see this little screen here. This is where you go to recharge and heal. So if you hold down the X key, you're able to get that recharge going. You'll see the energy, the little bolt there, going back up. It does take a little bit for it to kind of get going, but I wanted to show you this while we were grinding away and we are producing our stuff. You have to make some trips back and forth. Like I said, it is a grind. It is quite a few trips in the beginning. It's going to be quite slow going. You can see the things that we've produced so far as far as our going back and forth. I've probably gone back and forth about 3 times already, and we're going to have to probably go back and forth quite a bit more, because you can see when we go over to production, we still have quite a bit here that needs to be produced in order to make all of these thrusters, right? And there's one more piece left too, is the gyroscope, and I'm going to have to show you guys how to do that. We're back in, and we have quite a bit of stuff on us right now. We made a few trips back and forth, and we have quite a bit here that's been produced for us. You can see everything that we have here, and we're going to go ahead and start working on one of these thrusters so you can kind of get an idea. We're going to kind of fly up there, and then once I get up here, I'm going to turn off my thruster and kind of stand on top here. We pointed this with our welder. You can see the components that, again, are required in order to build this. Now we'll need steel plates, construction components, motors, metal grid, large steel tubes, construction components, and steel plates. Now, everything on this list you're able to craft except for the metal grids. Those came off of the thrusters that we broke down. So there was 1 each in these, right? So it requires 1, so we were able to get 2 because we broke down 2 thrusters. So we'll have to find 2 more of those in order to complete all of the thrusters that we added in here. We definitely have 2 on our inventory already. You can take a look there. We do have 2, but we need 4 if we're going to make all of these. And I will show you a little trick in order to get those 2 metal grids that you need. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and use our welder here to get this one up and running. I think we have enough to kind of get it all the way up, except for get this one all the way completed. You can see that we do. We're going to go up above the functional, and there we are. We have 1 thruster all ready to go. You take a look at this here, you'll see that it's spinning, which means that it is currently working. We'll move over to the next one, and we have enough for this one as well. There we go. I'm going to complete these other 2, and then we'll bring it back in when we need to get the required components in order to finish them off. Alright, folks, so we're about to put in our last motor that we need, and we need metal grids and large steel tubes. The large steel tubes I did forget about. We cannot produce those yet either. We can't craft those, but there is a trick here to do this. So underneath your respawn pod or your drop spot pod, you have this hydrogen thruster. You could break this down for the material from it. You'll get the metal grids and the large tubes that you need in order to finish off your last two thrusters. So I kind of broke down some of the ship here in order to kind of get in there, but you really need to kind of dig underneath the ship. Grinding away at this is really not enough to kind of get you in there, I don't believe. I usually just dig underneath the ship to kind of get to that thruster. I'm going to give it a try. I don't want to take out too much of the ship, but we'll give it a shot and see if I can get in there this way. And no, I'm crouched already and I cannot get in there, so we definitely need to go underneath the ship, right? So you pull out your drill and you just work your way down. Ship's going to kind of come down on you a little bit. Just got to be careful. And there's the hydrogen thruster. You can see it has 4 metal grids and 2 large steel tubes, so we're going to just break that down until we get the pieces that we need. You can break it down the rest of the way. You don't need it. We're going to cannibalize this ship later on anyway, but this is the exciting moment where we will finish off these thrusters. We have all working thrusters here, and then the ones on the ship that are already there for our lift, which will be done too. So just kind of quickly going over this here, just want to kind of show you. This took about 40 minutes, right? Look at this hole that I dug out here in order to get all the resources that I need. So that's what I said about going back and forth. I can't get grindy. It took about 40 minutes to do all of this. You want to make kind of like a shallow hole so you can get in and out rather easy and quickly, and you're not using all your hydrogen to use your jetpack to kind of go up and down in that, right? We're going to pick up all these rocks as well because those are valuable resources to us right now. They're called stone here in the game. And we're going to throw that into our survival kit here to break that stuff down into more nickel and iron and everything else. Nickel is kind of what we're looking for here to build the components that we're building. We'll need a lot of iron later on. We're going to need cobalt later on too. We'll get into that as well. Let me quickly show you here as far as like your hydrogen goes. When you go to refill in the survival kit, your hydrogen will refill along with your energy or oxygen or health or whatever it is. But in here, what I kind of like to do is, in here is your H2, your hydrogen oxygen generator or whatever you want to call it, right? O2H2 generator they call it. In here there's a couple of different bottles. You have some ice which breaks down and gives you the hydrogen and the oxygen. They have a hydrogen bottle here. You can keep this on you to kind of refill your thrusters as you go, slowly but surely. I like to kind of leave it off of me so that I can carry more stone in the beginning, but you can carry it with you. As long as you don't go too far away and you're not digging too deep of a hole, you won't need to refill your thrusters so often, right? So efficiency here is kind of the key in the beginning. The last piece that we need to do is our gyroscope. You go into Ship Essentials, and then if you move to the right here, you'll see the gyroscope. And we can take out the thrusters from the build planner by hitting Y. We can add this into the build planner, and then we can hit the RB key to place it. We might need to... Yep, we can place it right there in the front of the ship. This here doesn't matter which direction you put it in. I don't believe it affects anything like that. So you place it however you feel comfortable with it. The L stick again down, RB to get your free hand, and then you pull out your welder, and you'll see again pointing at this what you need to produce this. So looks like we will need a large steel tube. Okay. Alright folks, so in building this here, I kind of forgot that there was a large steel tube that's needed for this. Again, you are using the resource that you have. You can't produce one yet, so you kind of have to go find one. What you'd want to do here is you're going to have to grind down your H2O2 generator in order to get that large steel tube. You don't want to go too far with it when you break it down, but we're going to get everything else put together first and make sure that we have all the other components that we need in building this before we break that down, because once we do break that down, we're going to take off and fly and find a spot where we can land this guy to have a base, right? Where we're gonna put our base or find our base. All right, so here we are. We just need that large steel tube in order to get the gyroscope working and get ourselves off the ground. We are going to go get our grinder, and we're going to go and just tap this O2 thing until we get that large steel tube that we need. We got the one that we need, right? So now this is not working anymore, so we have to be careful with that, right? But we do have the components. We'll have to break down something in order to get that working again. We'll do that once we find our landing spot. But let's go ahead and finish this off here. And there we go. It's done, right? We're, of all the components in there, it's at 69%, but it's working, it's functional, and that's all we need. Now that we have that completed, we hit the X key when we point to the passenger seat, and we are in our ship, and we are able to get ready to go find our new location where we're going to keep our base. So I want to put a break in here for this one. We've been going for quite some time. We've used an entire game day in order to do this, right? It's nighttime now. And in order for you guys to be able to see it a little bit better and for me to be able to explain some of the things we need to do and look for when we're picking out a landing spot for a base, I want you guys to be able to see everything and not have to see it in the dark. You want to be able to see certain things in order to be able to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. We need to find a spot where there's going to be ice so that we can keep our oxygen and hydrogen produced as well. And it's kind of hard to find ice where we are now, so we definitely want to fly to a spot where we can find like ice or an ice lake, something to that along those lines. But anyway, guys, I want you to leave comments down below. Tell me what you think. Do you want me to go into even more detail? Do you want me to show you some of the grindy parts? I will explain when things are going to get grindy and what you need to do without really showing you the boring parts of me just drilling a hole. But anyway, we have a working ship. We can take off in this thing whenever we want to. And I will show you that in the next episode. We will pick it up and we'll get this thing off the ground flying, and we will find a spot that we can go to. But anyway, thank you for stopping by and checking this out with me. Leave a comment below. Leave a like for the video. It definitely helps. If you're new or if you want to hang out and see when we're going to put up more videos, hit subscribe and stay informed on when we're going to put up some new stuff. I do 7 Days to Die as well, and I am doing some Minecraft on the channel too. So see you around. Bye-bye.
Go where you need. Go.